Yes, so we're going on retreat together, and this is special. This community forming, even through the miles and through the waves and the internet. And to me, I've done a few of these online retreats up to now, and I have felt that there can be a powerful sense of community. Especially if we make it conscious, if we agree on this, if we make it kind of the foreground of our experience, that even though we might be at home, alone, or with housemates, roommates, family members, etc., we are together in a space that is a space of practice. So it's not delimited by the geography of it, it's delimited by the intentions around it. And so we're all entering this space together where we say from Friday morning now until Saturday afternoon, we are entering this field of investigation, this field of particular connection with reality. And so, yeah, there's an intention that comes that can be very, very powerful. And some things can help us around this. And one of the things I'm thinking about is to recognize that we are, even though very much in modern times right now, and it's very clear as we're looking at screens and all this, although we are in modern times, we are practicing in the lineage that, has deep time on its side. Not the time of just, today or this week, but a much, much larger framework here. So these practices were born, are still very much alive, but were, protected and cultivated and shared in Asia 2,600 years ago, and still are over there today, very much alive. And these teachings have been moving through cultures and time and through generosity, and a lot of generosity. It's not possible for this practice to exist today, without so much generosity that came before. And so we can become aware of this, that we are walking on a path that has been cleared by the Buddha, a path to an ancient city, and it's been cleared by the Buddha, and it's been maintained for centuries by people of all skin colors, of all languages, cultures, subcultures, gender expressions. And they've walked diligently, taking care of their own hearts, taking care of ours, And so today, this week or weekend, we are walking this path, also benefiting from it for our own well-being, for the well-being of the people around us, but also for future generations. And so our waking up is a generous act, is a responsible thing to do with one human's life, And so this is what we're embarking on together, and the community is forming slowly with every hour of practice and every time we gather together, and through the Q&As and the sharings of the heart that Roxanne is going to offer, and the deep wisdom that we are very lucky to have access to from Joseph. With all these hours, something is going to be created. And I want us to be aware of this. So we belong to each other for a few days here, maybe forever, and we did before, but especially in the next few days, we are in this together. And so we're holding space for each other. So even when I close the camera today, my practice will remain alive, because I know that all of us in Toronto, Los Angeles, Paris, in Belgium, in Boston, all the different places that I've seen over in the world, all of us will be pillars for each other. We'll know that, yes, I'm in my apartment, in my regular space, you know, but we're all there in a special way, in a way where we have maybe slowed down a little bit, are offering more generous attention to what's happening, kind of moving away, we could say, from habits, from habitual ways of moving, from habitual ways of acting, from habitual ways of thinking, from habitual ways of relating. And we're bringing in the field, at the core, the foreground of our values, we're bringing this mindfulness, this care for what's happening in the body, in the heart, and in the space. Yeah? And recognizing its practice is going to be different for every one of us. Some of us live alone, and so maybe we'll be more like in a classic silent retreat, you know, as Bibiana suggested, just cutting down on news and connections, you know, and opening up the connection, the feedback loop here. Some of us are living with, you know, children, partners, or roommates, you know, and I hope it was possible to inform these people of what's special is going on for us. But in our way that we were going to relate to them this weekend, we're invited to bring that extra care, that extra curiosity that will be nourishing. Also, I want again maybe to ask you if your camera is on in the way you are on, you know. So it means for me, for other people who see you, please don't clean your teeth with your fingers or your nose. I'm getting very specific here, but we can easily, I understand this too, forget that there's a camera. If your camera is on, it's beautiful. You can create the space together in this way, but be careful of what you do. If you see that you have to do a lot of movements or something, just shut down the camera. It's okay, you know, and then come back when there's more. So we want to bring in the space some, you know, invite calm in the space. So visually, it's something we can offer to other and benefit from. Yeah. So thank you for being careful with this. The schedule says that we're meeting, you know, this morning, every morning at 10 o'clock for an hour and a half, for an hour at 1 o'clock with Roxanne, and for an hour and a half with Joseph. And actually this time might vary, because when we prepared the retreat together, the three of us, we agreed that we would offer between an hour and a half, you know, Roxanne between 45 minutes and an hour. And so we'll see. So don't be kind of shocked and think you're not getting what you paid for if you see that Joseph stops after an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. That's what we agreed on. So I want you to be in the same agreement. But we put this on the schedule so you reserve that time. And we'll see what's natural, what feels right. Okay. Yeah, so that's already many words here, many words. So I'll invite you maybe to find the posture you want to practice in. And that's the beauty of an online retreat, is that you could be sitting on your cushion or bench or chair in a very formal way. But it allows this online retreat that you decide to actually do the practice standing, maybe standing behind your chair with hands resting on the chair. You could be, you could be lying down. Find the posture that works for you, that is going to be supportive of your awakening. This is the angle here. You know, we're not about comfort, about being comfortable, you know. This is one of the aspects that count in the posture. But another of the aspect is the wakefulness. So we want to be awake to what's happening, get sensitive and be have our intelligence with us, something vivacious. Would that be a word in English? Something alive here, sensitivity, consciousness. And so finding your posture, and the eyes can be open or closed. And you can turn away the camera if you, the computer, the screen, if you want just the sound. You can adjust a little bit as you see fit. And we're going to practice together for half an hour here. We're not stuck in the posture. We can readjust. But we also want to be able to choose calm and stillness. Some stillness maybe in the body, to bring some stillness to the mind and heart, space. And we don't have to be perfect here, do things perfectly. It's not required. It's not going to happen anyway. We're just interested in what's happening here, not to describe it or analyze it, or just to experience it. To feel what's there. Can even drop the wordings here, the narration, the storytelling. And just feel what's there. Feel the body. That's what's there. There's a body here. It's alive. Allow yourself to become aware of this. It's alive with breath. It's alive with tingling, maybe, with touch. Hands resting somewhere. Alive with heat or coolness, or rest or tingling. It's alive with hearing the voice of the teacher, hearing the silence maybe, or the sounds in the apartment or outside. So allowing ourselves to become aware of this living system, this sensitive system touched by temperature and gravity and vibrations, sound vibrations. The system sensitive to comfort or discomfort, ease and ache. It's happening now. We just become aware of this, attuned to this. We just see if we can stay here, if it's possible to remain here in this breathing body. Not trying to fix or explain or plan. We're not interested by that. We're not in that part of the brain. We're exploring life differently here through presence. In connection with life, intimate with the experience of sitting here, or standing here, or laying here. In time we'll get access to a different kind of intelligence that's been covered by words. Noticing how it feels to be attentive, to be present. Can there be some friendliness or benevolence here as we listen and feel? Aware of breath, or aware of space through silent or sound. Aware of sensitivity of skin. Allowing ourselves to experience some aspects of reality. Truly experience breath or hearing or touch. Awake to the experience of being alive. It's happening now. One day it won't be happening anymore, but now it's happening. Breath, sensitivity. Discovering as it's happening, discovering what it is to be conscious. What it is to be touched by coolness or warmth or sounds or silence, ache or ease. Sitting here, aware of the body alive, the body breathing. Soon enough, we'll discover that there is also inner life happening. There's an ambiance in there, a tone, a tonality in there. Sometimes it's friendly, sometimes it's dry or heavy or light or spacious, grumpy, obsessed, tender. So as you sit here, or practice here now, aware of body breathing, hearing, you might discover the state of this being. There is always a state, always an ambiance in there. It might be neutral, it might be charged, it might be subtle, lovely, or unpleasant. We can become aware of this. What's the state of this being practicing here? No judgments whatsoever, just awareness, waking up to the attitude, no judgments, just factual. Oh, it's like this in here, in this being. Can it be okay that it's like this right now? Can it be known just as it is? Heavy or light, spacious or contracted, the heart, the mind, the state of this being here. Sometimes there's many words, many things to say. We can become aware of this. Oh, a lot of things to say in there. Sometimes it's silent. We can become aware of this. Not trying to change what is there, but just acknowledge. Feel it just as it is. Aware, awake to it. Oh, tensed, perturbed, easeful. This is how it is right now. In body, in heart, just like this. If you want, for the last 3 or 4 minutes here, you could maybe just allow your attention to rest with the breath, with the body breathing, with the belly rising and falling. Rest the attention, let the attention embrace the breath. Let the breath reveal attention. Let the attention marry the breath. The breath, so vital, so precious. Our connection with life. Vital. If you want, for the last minute here, I invite you to open the eyes if they're closed. And maybe you can see, become aware of seeing colors and shapes. Maybe seeing the screen, if it's right there in front of you, you might see another being or other beings. Also breathing, so all of us together aware of breath. Something we share in common, something precious to each one of us. This breath. Maybe a wish that everybody can breathe safely. Everybody's breath protected, honored. Thank you. This breath is still alive, continues, precious. It's part of our path to freedom, essential. It's part to the path of anyone's freedom. I hope the sound coming from my mic was okay. It was fine with you. Not the amount of talking. The amount of talking, that was that one. It's another thing on which you don't have control. But, I'm saying this because I was just noticing outside, they started redoing the roof of at the neighbor. So there's actually many people and tools and going on, and a lot of really intense language. So it was an interesting ambiance for me in which to practice, with a lot of swearing and a lot of, and so I don't know if it was reaching your ears, but yeah, it made practice very alive. And so I'm sorry if it got to you. I'm not sure it did. Okay, so so on this retreat, what we're invited to do, is in a way is very classic on any retreat, on many retreats, in present that would be in presence or in distance, like this. On the first day of practice, there's always a big emphasis on sensory awareness. So awareness of body, and this is the Buddha teaching, very alive here for us. And so the Buddha instructing us, inviting us to wake up, to become intimate, to be conscious of the experience of the body in its posture. Maybe let's start with this, just as we are sitting now, or standing, or whatever you are, whichever posture you're in, to just become aware of this. There is a body, and the body is in this posture right now. This is so incredibly simple, yet so powerful. And so today, an invitation to become aware of the body, not in a judging way, oh, it's getting old, or it's too like this, or too like that, or I don't like it, or it's excellent. It's not in this way, in the way of establishing connection. And mindfulness, we could say there's two features here I'd like to name, is the actually connecting and the remaining, the staying. And so that's going to be part of our practice here today. So becoming aware there is a body, and seeing if we can stay there with the body as it's moving around the house, maybe doing walking meditation or taking care of the child, whatever you'll be doing. Could there be an emphasis, an interest in connection with body, maintained connection with body through posture? So while sitting, knowing you sit, while walking, knowing you walk. That's extremely basic, primary, and extremely powerful, knowing that we're here. In the instructions, the Buddha seems to say, just enough awareness to know there is a body, and to maintain that knowledge, to maintain that connection, that intelligence. And so in this way, we'll be able to maybe cut through a lot of crap that our mind could come up with, and that we could be fascinated by. Everything that our mind has to say about past, future, and this and that. And today, we're invited to come back to body. Yes, thank you, love, for all your disqualifying thoughts. Thank you so much. And now we value, so there's a switch of value happening. We're valuing experience of sensitivity, sensory awareness. So coming back to whatever, belly, chest, hands holding things, moving objects around if they do, so close connection. Maybe the senses can be awake. So awake to seeing, conscious of seeing, not just seeing habitually, but seeing with curiosity. What is it like to see? So on the retreat, we're going to explore human experience, human nature. One definition that I like a lot of mindfulness is discovering the familiar, or rediscovering the familiar. So we have the chance here to hear as if we had never heard before, as if hearing was an absolutely new experience, or sitting, or breathing, or being moi, whoever that is, or being conscious in this moment. What is it like to be alive now? Such a strange thing to be a human being, such a strange thing to be touched by coolness and warmth and sounds and images coming from insides and moods of others and beauty and so much sensitivity. So today we're invited to become aware of this, of the fact that there are senses. And I'm focusing maybe particularly on the 5 first ones. And you might know that in Buddhism, there's 6 senses: the inner sense that receives emotions and thoughts and moods, etc. But this morning, today, if you want to practice with what we call the first foundation of mindfulness, bodily awareness. So awareness of posture, awareness of breath or possibilities, of activities of the body, of, I'll put in there, senses, aware of hearing. These friends, these, my friends, I'm talking to you, will be, this will be the doorway to wisdom here, as taught by the Buddha, the doorway. So through connection with body, we'll cut the crap of the discursive mind, habitual mind, and we'll come back to here, and we'll wake up to what's happening actually here. There's a body here, alive. And so mindfulness is being aware and seeing if it's possible to stay aware, to stay in connection when we would depart habitually in, preferences, comments, all kinds of, embellishment, fascinations of in the mind, staying here, staying around, just to see what can be discovered here, what kind of intelligence is in the presence that we don't tap into with our habitual agitation. So connecting, seeing if it's possible to stay in relationship with here, this body. And in there's a kind of freshness. There's a curiosity. We're discovering. It's the spirit of discovery, of exploration. And so that's going to be really helpful, very awesome, to get away from the blasé mind, that's used to housemates, partners, rooms, times of the day, Let's become awake here to what's it like to be here. So that's the field we're entering into, the field of practice, the field of awakening to what's happening instead of not seeing it because of habits. So these are the invitations here. And it's remarkable. As soon as we become aware of that, I'll talk for me. As soon as I become aware of body, that I'm here now, sitting or breathing or hearing, almost as soon as I discover how this being, how troubled they are, or how, how it's healthy to actually give attention, listen. So there's many, we're exploring, all of us, Dharma teachers, and practitioners together, we're exploring the different forms that online retreats can take. I think we've clarified now that this kind of new form, if you will remain, because it's useful in so many ways. But we also see that there's many ways to hold a retreat online. You can have a very tight schedule, sit, walk, talk, sit, walk, eat, And in many centers, they're offering, we're exploring different versions. And so now we went with a version maybe that's been offered lately at the Insight Meditation Society, where Joseph mainly teaches, the center he founded. And so we reserved 3 blocks of times where we gather together, trying to be aware that being on Zoom can be, has its limit in terms of eating up energy. And so we decided to gather a few times a day and to leave these big gaps of 1 hour and a half or 2 hours or many hours in the evening. And so if you've been on retreat before, or if you have if you have a strong practice, or there's an amazing opportunity for you here to be in your environment and be in a way also self-reliant, self-structure your own schedule. What would it mean for you when we go in a few minutes, from let's say from 11:20 until 1 o'clock? What's going to happen? And I know some of you are in a different time zone, but I'll use this one so I don't lose my mind. And so there's going to be a couple of hours or so here. How do you structure the time? There's an opportunity here to do formal practice, to actually walk as we do the formal meditative walking, and sit again and walk, and you can play with the time that works for you. Or you might go for a walk in the city or the countryside where you are. But what form could sustain your being particularly present, being awake, aware, intrigued by the immediate experience? What form could it take for you? And some of us have things to attend to. So could we attend to them in an unhabitual way, in a way where we can actually maybe gain insight because of the quality of our presence, the mix of calm, curious attention that would be there, the mix of careful, curious attention. And so it's for you to see. And it's really easy to go right back to habits, and it will happen, I would bet. I say all this. I was doing this a few weeks ago. I say all this, and I'm all like gung-ho for practice, and then I close the Zoom, and I rush to the bathroom, and suddenly there was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes later, I was like, oh, I was totally mindless. I did everything habitually when I was just explaining to people that there was a chance to actually close the computer, stand up knowing that we're standing, take a moment maybe to drink something in connection with waters, and then move through the rooms and be aware of light, of body moving, and all the joy that can come from that, the joy of connection. Another way to cut through these impressions we have of fragmentation. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be somebody else, somewhere else, further along. I'm not too. And just by slowing down and actually being there, suddenly something can become whole, maybe again, or something broken can come forward and be met tenderly. So the possibility here of joy in the connection, the possibility of tenderness, learning how to be with, to carry, to accompany the difficult, if that's what's there for you. And so slowing down is our chance today. And when we do this and we try to see if we can stay or start freshly again, something will be built over the hours and days. And that is extremely powerful. I know many of you know this. Some of you I know this better than I do. But I think my job is to remind us of the possibilities here. And so maybe a few words on formal walking meditation for those of you who are not aware that it even exists. You know, we might have an idea that meditation should be only sitting at the top of the Himalaya. And now we're discovering, oh, I can do this not only in a retreat center, but at home, you know. And so walking is a way to actually keep this connection, this awareness, this extraordinary presence that has within it possibility of wisdom and joy and tenderness, you know. So as we move, so eyes open, body moving in space, we learn through walking meditation that we can be fully awake, fully engaged with reality as we move about. And we do it in a very simple way so that we don't get lost. So what we do is we walk back and forth just a few feet. And here, I don't know if I can show you, I'll be back. I can't right now, but I have a corridor in my apartment, I don't know, maybe 20 feet. And so that's where I do the walking meditation during the retreat. So that's what I'll do here this morning and this afternoon. Partly is I'm going to be walking back and forth and just bringing attention to the body, standing, stepping. And for me here, there's a lot of cracking on the floor. So I get to discover something that has been surprising for me for years. How, joy, contentment can arise from the quality of presence. So I didn't know that there was joy in the cracking of my floor, you know. But I discover this now when I do walking meditation here. And there's something that my mind can rest into, stay awake to the flow of cracking, you know. And suddenly it'll be the light patterns changing in the corridor. And I stay attuned to this and to, the stepping and the sensations in the body. And there's a lot of healing that can happen in there. And, you know, and the practice of renunciation. I renounce being habitually lost in my thoughts. And I offer to myself time to actually be there and develop another way of being that's going to be really helpful in my relationships, in my work. Essential. And so I invite you to play with this. So you walk a few feet, you stop, become aware of standing, turn around, be aware of turning, and then do a few steps with hearing, with seeing, with sensing the body or the feet, and then stop. And all kinds of things will reveal themselves there. You know, the quality of the silence, the quality of the mind, of the meditator walking, you know, all kinds of things, light will appear, the play of light or whatever else. Or if you decide to sit in the sofa or on a chair on the balcony or go in a park and sit, do the same practice, stay here. If you want to play with this, be a little bit with the eyes, seeing, aware of seeing, aware of hearing, aware of body, walking, or just sitting, and maybe aware of feet for a few moments. Come back to seeing. maybe movements of wind in trees, sound of the urban life or whatever. Body sitting or walking, breathing, feet stepping or resting. So this would be some of the instructions for this morning. And at some point, a meal will appear, or you'll have to prepare it. And the practice can be as alive in there. And regarding activities of the bodies, you know, the daily activities, the instructions here could be, if you want to play with this, could be to slow down a bit, to do the same things, preparing the sandwich or cutting the carrots, but just a little bit more slowly, opening the fridge door, you know, taking the container of whatever or bag of whatever, you know, and just slowing down a little bit. We're, you know, in this retreat, it's a lab. We're exploring life. And so these are the parameters of our research here. We're saying, let's slow down a bit and see what's going to appear if we do things a little bit more slowly than habitually we do them, you know, a little bit more carefully. You know, it's a very good expression of care. It's a practice of the care we will want to bring to our relationships, to our planet that really needs us to slow down and care, to our life and society that really needs us to slow down and listen. And so all these ways of moving about in the house, apartment, wherever you are, more slowly, deliberately, consciously, caringly, will definitely benefit every aspect of our lives. Thank you so much for engaging with this in the way that you see fit, that makes sense for you and your circumstances today. But all of us agreeing that we're exploring something special here, a special practice of mindfulness, of heartfulness, of care. Last thing I'll say is that I'm very grateful that Roxanne and Joseph agreed to, you know, to join me for this retreat. They're offering their time, as I do, as teachers often do in this tradition, freely. They're able to do this. Joseph for 55 years. Roxanne for, I don't know how many years, Roxanne. And me maybe for 15 years of teaching, I'm not sure. Anyway, we've been able to do this because of your support and the support of people who practiced before you. And so that's part of what's happening here. We're in a field of generosity, the generosity of the teachers and teachers' teachers, and all the way up to the Buddha. And so that's what's happening here. This is happening. So whatever you'll receive from us today comes from the heart, from care, from, you know, and it might very much be imperfect, especially in my case, but it's offered generously to you. And Roxanne and Muriel, Bibiana, sorry, you're right in my face, Bibiana and Muriel are offering also their time generously. So we're not in a relationship of consumer demanding for something, as you know. That's the beauty, we're relieved from that. We're in a field of generosity here. And so thank you so much for being aware of this and rejoicing that it's possible. And all that we're doing for our practice is also sustaining True North Insight. As you know, we're gathering money here for this organization to stay alive. So that's another source of joy. Okay, so 1 o'clock, we'll meet together with Roxanne for practice together. Thank you.